Hello, everyone, and welcome to Burn the Ship, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs go all in on their business, and we introduce them professionals that can help them to do so. Today, we have a very special guest, Dr. Walker. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes. Please introduce yourself and the name of your business.
So I'm Dr. Walker. I'm a brain-based chiropractor. I'm the owner of BrainSpine Chiropractic, where we are neuro-focused care for the athlete in you.
Awesome. We so look forward to learning more about your business. But before that, we want to learn a little bit more about your journey. Okay. And we understand that time is one of our most valuable resources. So let's jump into things. Tell us a little bit about your story.
So where to begin? So I, especially with the chiropractic aspect, I didn't come from a chiropractic background. My parents weren't chiropractors. But playing sports would always have injuries here and there. You take Tylenol, these things, but it never really got it better. Mm-hmm. Playing sports, especially in high school, one of our senior projects was to mentor someone kind of in the local community. And we all know physical therapy, athletic training, these things, right? But one of it was chiropractic. I'd never heard of chiropractic. This was 06, 07, mm-hmm. right? I'm kind of dating my age a little bit, right? So I was able to kind of mentor, job shadow, part of a language class. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of cool being able to see people come in with pain, tightness, and discomfort, either leaving a lot better or at least leaving better than they were. Yes. So this is eye-opening, mm-hmm. if you will. Mm-hmm. And being able to, and I was able to visit them, especially after playing basketball and baseball. And it was cool being able to see the body heal itself. Mm-hmm. And then just since then, being able to go to school and for it has been pretty cool. Okay. So that's been the biggest thing as far as the chiropractic aspect. But played sports my entire life, mm-hmm. from the Chattanooga area. Okay. Most of my parents are from up north, the Boston kind of area.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that sound was.
Right. Sports my whole life. Mm-hmm. I actually met my wife through sports as well. She's a volleyball player. She played mm-hmm. collegiate as well. Mm-hmm. So just since then, sports and health has been a big part of what I am.
Yeah. Yep. Now, you said that you were in the Tennessee area. What brought you down to the Atlanta area?
Life University. Okay. So before chiropractic, I knew I wanted to do something with health. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know if chiropractic was for sure something I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. In the health field, you take not just anatomy and physiology, you take chemistry and biology, and I was awful at that. Okay. I was like, I don't know, maybe I don't want to do this. And then you take A&P, and it's like, oh, I'm getting good grades in this. But I love this. Mm-hmm. So I was able to do bachelor's in exercise science. And so doing that to really see if chiropractic is what I wanted to do. Okay. It was just the closest one to me. It happens to be one of the biggest and largest chiropractic colleges. Yes. So doing that, really saw that chiropractic is something I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And even before that, doing the functional neurology aspect. Okay. Being able to explain, hey, the brain kind of controls everything. Yeah, right? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Now, I was doing a little research on you, and I saw that while you were in school, you were able to help a famous hockey player. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, and how were you able to help him at such a young age? Yeah, so I wasn't a chiropractor at the time, but Dr. Carrick, Professor Carrick, is the father of functional neurology. Mm-hmm. And he is seeing from, if you're a hockey fan, Crosby, mm-hmm. Even now, but at the time, he was the big wig, mm-hmm. right? And if anyone knows, 15, 20 years ago, he had his big concussion. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of part of that team, still in school, but part of the team to kind of see Dr. Carrick and a couple other chiros in that area, which is kind of around here, see not just through the chiropractic, but the brain-based exercises. Mm-hmm. He's coming in with not just neck pain, back pain, but after a concussion, dizziness, balance issues. He would get on his skates, and after 2 or 3 minutes, just throw up. Okay. So being able to see him get better, that's really what spoke to me as far as being the best athlete in you. Mm-hmm. Being able to come into play was pretty eye-opening. Yes. So being able to see that and take all that information in was probably one of the coolest experiences I've had in a while. Yeah, that is awesome. You're enthusiastic about the subject. You get an early dose of working with a celebrity, superstar. What happened once you finished school? Did you go directly into your business, or what happened? Yeah, so once you graduate, you know everything, mm-hmm. right? You don't learn anything after that. Yeah, that's not true at all, right? Yeah, right. So I wanted to go back to the Chattanooga kind of Ringgold area, mm-hmm. To give back to my community. Mm-hmm. Starting to grow a little bit, a lot of goods, a lot of ups and downs, mm-hmm. right? But then COVID hit. Okay. For me, I I kind of took that as a sign of let's put kind of doing your own thing on pause to see what else is out there.
Okay.
And that was 2017, 2018 kind of time frame. And since then, I've done a lot in the chiro field, from like personal injury to high-end clinics, knowing what I want to do, but even more so, it's just not something I want to do. And the last, I'd say, probably 6 months to a year and a half, really talking to wife, praying, and these things. If I really want to do it and do it right, probably just need to do it myself.
Yeah.
And that's where BrainSpine Chiropractic really came in. Being able to do the chiropractic, but also the neuro, which are two passions of mine. Being able to blend those. Right. I was like, if I'm going to do this, then let's build it slow, where I can really give to my community.
Awesome. Now, joining the entrepreneurial, world can be challenging at that time. Is it where, when you were thinking about it, you knew that was something you always wanted to do, or was it just circumstances that say, hey, look, let me give this a try instead of what I'm currently doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. The last 4 or 5 years, not just the highs and lows, but there'd be times where I would have the opportunity to do a lot of the neuro, but it was just neuro. I wouldn't be able to see patients and do the chiropractic adjustments and these things, or vice versa, that where high-end clinic, but the neuro, that's not something we want to do. That's super, super important, but it's just not the clinic wasn't set up for that.
Yes.
I wanted to do both.
Okay.
So after, a couple of years, like, I kept getting burnt out, so being able to do both of those and blend them how I want to, it's not been the easiest thing, right? Because building a business, you've ever done that, right?
That's
I know
right.
you definitely have.
Yeah.
But doing it in a way where, with other business professionals, being able to ask them different questions, because business is business at the end of the day, right? So being able to see how they were able to kind of scale networking in these things, and kind of making my own. The last 6 months to a year, really just diving and delving into it and doing my thing and having fun with it. Because if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
I get it. And I understand that it's not easy, that journey that you decided to choose. And like I said, you had already been in a already formulated situation. Was there an event that happened that made you say, you know what, I'm going to burn the ship and just do this for myself and my family?
There was a patient I had years ago that was coming in with neck pain, back pain. She was 7, 8 at the time, and she could deal with that, but she wanted to do a lot of gymnastic stuff. But every time she would roll, every time she would tumble, not only would she lose where she's at in space, but she would, what we call, have like a drop attack, where she would just fall.
Okay.
You're 7, 8 years old, you shouldn't have to worry about that. So being able to do the chiropractic, but the brain-based chiropractic, and doing the functional neurology aspect, being able to help her brain know where she's at in space, was really cool. Okay. But I wanted to see a lot more patients with that, knowing that was probably just a one-off, right? She's coming with neck pain, back pain, but as we started delving more into it, there's a lot more going on. Right. I wanted to see more patients with that. And that was kind of an eye-opener for me of, if I want to see more patients like that, I might need to have a place in business that really accepts that, if you will.
Yes.
Chiropractic, absolutely love, but the neuro is my passion. Being able to see a 7, 8-year-old not be able to play with her mom, her fellow 7, 8-year-old kids, her friends, and to slowly get her life back, stuff that we were doing in the office and outside, and now she's probably about 20 at this point, is kind of awesome.
Yes. Now that we're here, I want you to tell us all about your business, what you're doing, and really what being a brain-based chiropractor is all about. Tell us all about your business.
I didn't know you were going to ask me that. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm a chiropractic neurologist. I say brain-based chiropractor. Yes. Right? What we see in the office, or who we see in the office, is athletes as well as active individuals being able to optimize whatever it is that they're doing, right? Because an athlete, most of us think of an athlete as on the field. Whatever that sport is, football, basketball, baseball, which we see a lot of, right? But also off the field. There's a sport where all of us, no matter who you are, where you're at, are going to come in contact with. And it's going to have probably the highest highs and lowest lows. And that's a sport of life. Yes. Right? Sounds cheesy, but it's very true. Yeah. Right? We'll have, if you're 15, 16 years old, wanting to get better at your sport, or a mom that just had kids that's wanting to get core better, being able to go for a run, just live life better. The gambit of that. Being able to answer that question, I'm going to do a 30-second anatomy lesson, if that's fine.
Absolutely.
So there's 3 systems that the body's always using. When those 3 systems are working, it's a pretty cool day, right? And most chiros, most physical therapists, whoever it is working on one of the systems, which is a big system, the muscles and joints, right? There's other 2 systems that we have to work at. One's going to be eye movements. I should be able to look at you and look at somewhere else without my head turning. Should also be able to look at you with my eyes shooting off, right? That's kind of balance, right? Those are the other 2 kind of big systems, right? If we're not looking at those systems, if I were to tell you neck pain and back pain might not be coming from your neck, you're like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But it does, right? If I'm trying to look at you and something over here and I can't do a quick eye movement, I have to keep doing this. You're doing a slow eye movement and a quick eye movement about 300,000 times a day. Just like you're reading something, right? You're doing a slow, quick, slow, quick. But if your brain doesn't trust that and has to kick in a neck mechanism to do that, the neck is designed to move, but not that many times. So we could give you the best adjustment, the best dry needling. We do a lot of soft tissue in the office as well. That could be the best thing for you. But between now and next visit, what are you doing out in the real world? Eye movements that are off.
Yes.
Right? So if we keep doing something over and over and expecting a different result, that's a definition of insanity. Right? So that's where I love adjusting. I love doing soft tissue stuff. But if it's not in a brain-based model, and we know the brain controls everything, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a good explanation on it, because my experience with the chiropractic space is making sure that the entire system is working properly. And I've heard it all the time. Your receptors and your spine have to be free, and everything can flow. But the spine is attached to this other thing up here, so it makes sense for you to go about that way. Now, in that particular space, do you get any kickback from other chiropractors as far as focusing on top down, or do they say, why are you doing that? Just get on the spine and lead everybody else along.
I think most, and I'm a chiropractor too, right? So most chiros love the spine, and spine is super, super important, right? And even through school, we talk about before the nerves exit the spine, it starts in the brain. These are what we call nuclei. It's kind of the hub. You have Atlanta, Chicago, all the big areas in your brain, right? All traveling down your 75, 285, whatever it is, right? This is the difference between a functional and a structural lesion. Quickly, a structural lesion is the spine. Maybe you had a stroke, or that area just isn't working, right? A functional lesion is like 75 traffic, right? You can do it, but it's just not moving the way it's supposed to. The adjustment can help with that, but again, the brain, like we just said, it's controlling everything.
Yes.
So it's not kickback. I mean, a lot of chiros know that the brain controls everything, but it's being a chiropractic neurologist is another 4.5, 5 year kind of subspecialty, if you will. So other chiros love it. They just don't do it.
Okay.
There's probably less than 5% of chiros that are chiropractic neurologists as well.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Now, in a lot of instances, we see it where you go to your chiropractic visit, 15 minutes, and you're out. I've heard some of them say, hey, I'm going to take 45 minutes to an hour, but only see you once every week or two. Tell us a little bit about what an engagement looks like when someone says, hey, I would like to use your services.
Yeah. So the first visit, it's about an hour long, because it's a full chiro and neuro workup.
Okay.
Right? Because we got to look at those 3 systems we talked about, right? And depending on if you've had a concussion 2 days ago, 2 weeks, well over 2 years ago, right? Or maybe you're just coming in with neck pain, back pain, right? Like we said, maybe your neck pain, back pain is not just coming from the neck. So we got to get your baseline, right? If we don't have your baseline, it doesn't really matter, right? So being able to look at that takes a while, right? Because once we have all that information, then that sets us apart as far as what does that care plan look like. If it's twice a week for X amount of weeks, and then my job is, it's a bad business model, is to see you less and less, and you're still feeling good, right? Because that means the brain and body is able to do its job, right, efficiently.
Right.
So that's after that. Once we get all that information, looking at eye movements, how the neck is moving, how the whole body's moving, balance, all that fun stuff, right? Each visit after that's about 20 minutes long.
Okay.
The adjustment takes less than 5 minutes, right? So once we do that, we got to make sure, hey, you got exercises before this. Were you doing those? Well,
maybe,
right?
maybe not. Yeah.
We can see pretty quickly if you're doing those, right? Because they're very specific to you. Exercise might be eye movement stuff, might be balance, or hey, let's work on core, right? So in that 20 minutes, we're doing the adjustments. We're looking at, again, those 3 systems, right? Do we need to do eye movement stuff? Do we need to do cupping? There's a lot going on, right? Because we got to make sure those 3 systems are working. Once they start working, it's pretty cool. We start seeing not just neck pain and back pain get better, but I'm still having some dizziness and balance issues, but I'm starting to trust movements more. I went to the gym and actually was able to be there for 20 minutes without X, Y, and Z happening.
Right.
I was able to, we see a lot of people that, especially after concussions, if it's driving, if it's going to your local Aldi, Kroger, Walmart, going up and down aisles, not so much neck pain, back pain, but if your brain doesn't know, okay, are you moving or other people moving? Combination of both. If it can't sense that, right, or make sense of that, it's just going to freak out.
Yes.
Especially on the field. If you've played any sports at all, right, for you to hit a bat, basketball, whatever it is, you're moving. Other people are moving. You're dribbling. You're hitting. If the brain can't make sense of that, it's going to freak out, and that's where things like tightness, stiffness, pain come on. Before that comes on, if we can get those other systems better, it's pretty cool what can happen.
Yes. Yeah. Now, believe me, I love your business model, though, because it's focused on healing and educating and making sure that you're prepping and planning to make sure you're doing the things that make the system function properly. So I'll just let you know, I love that business model that you have. Now, inside of what you do, there's always things that are coming up new. There's new studies. It's the body. We're always going to learn something. I wanted to provide this opportunity for you to share anything that's breaking in your industry that you would like to share and talk about and bring a little bit of a highlight to.
Yeah, and it's not one specific thing, and I guess not so much breaking, but the last 4 to 5 years or so with concussions.
Okay.
Right? I say that just because it's sports, but also if it's car accidents. For you to have a concussion doesn't mean you got hit and you lost consciousness. Now, if that did happen, you probably did, right? We see this with repetitive hits. If I were to ask you as far as concussions, what sport do you think would have either the most concussions or concussions that are more severe than any other sport?
I would immediately go to football.
Most people would, right? And that's big, but it's actually women's soccer.
Oh, okay.
There's many reasons for that, right? But like heading the ball, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's where, especially if you're not strengthening the spine, if you keep heading it, you're going to have kind of brain injury or issues, but also this doesn't have stability at all.
Okay.
Right? So things that are coming out as far as, especially once you've had a concussion, it used to be where sit in a dark room, don't move at all, let the brain heal. The brain needs to heal, but how is it going to heal if it's not getting any stimuli? Right? So we don't want to be cookie cutter with anything, right? It's not template. It depends on what's going on. Depends on how your brain was prior to that, right? But the first 5 days to a week and a half, we don't want to push it a lot, but we need to make sure the brain's getting information.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But if you've ever had a concussion, after the first week, I feel pretty good if I'm not moving, if I'm not doing a lot there. But once I get up, once I have to do stuff, it's a lot worse.
Yeah.
That's what we call PCS, post-concussion syndrome.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So to answer your question, there's a lot more research coming out that we need to do a lot of brain-based exercises because, again, you can't just sit in your chair the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The brain's not going to heal.
That's right.
So we got to do specific brain-based exercises to kind of mimic real-world experiences, right? If I'm doing this and looking this way, it's as if you're going opposite, even though you're not.
Yeah.
Right? If the brain doesn't realize that, every time you move, it's going to think the whole world's moving when it's not.
Yeah.
That's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So saying all that to say we need to make sure we're being specific with helping the brain, right? There's different technologies and these things out there for that, but at the end of the day, it needs to be brain-based, right? Because everything is brain-based.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much for creating such a beautiful picture of what it is that you do, how you're helping when it comes to the brain-based chiropractic services. Yeah. And another thing that we always like to talk about, not just what you do, but good referral partners. So I know we have done a lot of networking together, and we have our ideal referral partners. Do you mind sharing some of those so we can try our best to introduce you to some of those people?
Yeah, so I mean, the easy one is anyone with neck pain, back pain, but even more specifically, I've had neck pain, back pain. I had a couple weeks or months ago. I'm a lot better. But for some reason, quotes, right, now I'm starting to get some weird dizziness, balance issues. I'm not trusting movements more. The brain and body doesn't like being in pain, right? So it's going to try to do everything it can to get out of that, right? So anyone that you're talking to, having conversations of, I have some neck pain, back pain, but for some reason I'm starting to have X, Y, and Z for no reason, right? If it's more, eye strain, if it's I'm in the supermarket and I just get kind of dizzy, or I get super tired. You're having these signs and symptoms that don't make sense. They make sense. We just got to uncover them. Another one be anyone that's in the gym world, especially if you're a gym owner, athletic trainer that's dealing with athletes, right? You're going to do amazing things to get in them strength-wise, but if they don't have good stability, it doesn't really matter. Right. The other one would be even your seniors, right? Now that you're retired, you should be able to enjoy life. But if you get up real quick or you turn and we lose where you're at in space and you get dizzy, how are you going to enjoy life, right? So those would be kind of the big three.
Ideal ones.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I want to ask you about some of the stuff that you have been doing to see and capture some of this success, because I am confident that over your journey, you have acquired and nurtured a bunch of best practices or business skills that have helped you to be successful. Do you mind sharing with the audience a couple of those skills?
Yeah, I mean, one that really comes to mind, and it sounds simple, is active listening.
Okay.
Not just in the clinic, but whoever it is you're talking to, having, we're always in this day and age of texting and doing these things, but when we have a face-to-face conversation, if you don't have that active listening and you're just trying to get the next word out, it doesn't really matter. Right. Being able to truly have a conversation with someone, understand who they are, get to know them, because the more you get to know them, as cheesy as it sounds, you get to know yourself, right? I think active listening is huge. But in order to have that, we need to take a step back, breathe, and really try to understand what that other person's going through. And that's obviously super important in the clinic, but I think just life, honestly, in general. Getting to know that fellow human being in front of you. Because we are creatures, if you will, of passion and being able to connect. But if you don't have that active listening, how are you going to be able to connect with anyone?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. You always know the people when you're talking to them, they're just waiting to respond. Yes. I mean, they can't wait for that last syllable to come out of your mouth so they can go ahead and talk about it, and especially in sales and especially in what you do, because you have to find out what the issue is. I can see the importance of active listening, so I definitely appreciate that. Me doing the podcast, I have to do that all the time, so it's definitely a big thing for me. Sure. So I appreciate you sharing that skill. And as we have gone through your journey, we've talked about your business. We appreciate you sharing that sales skill. Want to turn the page just a little bit and talk about you specifically. So let's just say that you're correcting all the brains, all the spines. Everybody's system is just working perfectly, and time and money is no issue at all. What is it that Dr. Walker would do with his time?
Time and money is not an issue. Is that even a thing? Is that
in this fantasy world? It is, right? In this fantasy world, yes.
No, it's a good question. There's two things that come to mind. Wife and I, we love visiting mom and pop coffee shops. Starbucks is kind of cool, right? But seeing small businesses, in this case, mom and pop coffee shops, we love doing that, because usually it's better coffee, and just you get to see their business kind of be shaped. I would love to open our own. We actually have the business name and all that, right? It's called Lazy Bones. Okay. So there'd be kind of like a chiropractic feel to that. Yes. So your C1's your first bone here. When it's out, we kind of we feel bad. So we would call it like C1 and have like 3 or 4 shots of espresso, and you feel awesome, right? That would be kind of like a side venture. Would love to do that. Yeah. Another one, like I said, the wife and I were really big into sports, especially basketball. Okay. That's kind of where we really, because her dad was a basketball coach, her brother also played collegiately. Being able to ideally go to all of the different NBA arenas would be pretty cool. Okay. because we love to travel. So, and doing that would be traveling, but also sports and seeing high-level basketball in different arenas. That would be awesome.
Man, those are two great things because I love coffee. It's almost become essential. I'm a late bloomer when it came to coffee. I've only really been drinking it since around COVID time.
Okay.
I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I did a little intermittent fasting and it helped suppress it. So I just started drinking it. My question to you is, if we're going to a coffee shop that has every bean, every roaster that you want, what would you choose off the list?
So if you were to ask me this 2 years ago, it would have been the fancy lattes, this. Mm-hmm. But getting more into what's called a cortado.
Okay.
So it's equal half espresso and milk.
Okay.
And again, going to your mom and pop coffee shops, a lot of them nowadays grind their own beans. I'd say they make their own beans. They might not be growing them, mm-hmm. right? But it's more local. Mm-hmm. And you can really, in a weird way, kind of feel and literally taste that. Mm-hmm. So just a really good kind of like a Colombian kind of like dark roast, if you will, mm-hmm. With milk equal and maybe a little bit of like caramel in it.
Okay. That's your thing, huh? Is that the little bitty one? I think
it's a little bit, yeah.
I've heard that one before. I went to a coffee shop in Woodstock and they ordered that. I usually just drink it like this, black. But if it's later in the day, I mm-hmm. will put some stuff in there. So I'll definitely have to try that. It sounds like it's awesome with caramel in there. Okay.
I like caramel or vanilla. A little bit of
a little bit vanilla.
I mean, I love the espresso taste, but having a little bit of, caramel or vanilla.
Gotcha. And you talked about something that I love, which is sports. Now, I'm a big football fan, but I like basketball a little bit better. So the most pressing question of the day is, what team do we root for?
I would say it depends on what if it's college or basketball.
Let's go with NBA since we're going to those stadiums.
I mean, I got to go Hawks.
Okay.
We've had these big ups and downs, right?
Yes.
If you're from Atlanta, right? Other than was a couple of years ago, our soccer team won it all.
Yes.
And then Braves, mm-hmm. right? We won it, right?
Yes.
But now we're trying to get our Falcons and our Hawks kind of on the same page.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So definitely Hawks. We got a
Hawks.
really good team. This year going into next year, we'll mm-hmm. see what we can do this year.
Okay.
Right? But just being able to see them kind of play together, mm-hmm. right? I'd love to kind of get my hands on their brains.
Right.
It'd be the Hawks.
Be the Hawks. And last question in this particular segment, you said that you guys love to travel. Mm-hmm. Did you have a next destination that you guys are trying to reach pretty soon here?
Yeah, I mean, it would love to do the if it's like Netherlands or your big excursions, but we're trying mm-hmm. to just do more like just go up the coast here on the east, mm-hmm. Especially like late October-ish, September, go like Boston, mm-hmm. Being able to enjoy that, just being able to enjoy kind of local areas, a couple hours from us.
Yeah.
Just being able to kind of experience other than what's around where we're at.
Yeah.
That's the next big one.
I definitely understand a lot of people talking about traveling outside of mm-hmm. the country, but we have all the geographies here as well. I mean, we live in a beautiful America, you know, so we got a lot of stuff to enjoy here. So I definitely understand not necessarily local, but regional. Mm-hmm. And there's so many things you can see there.
For sure.
Now, if the people that are watching today have questions about your journey, your business, or mm-hmm. just want to learn a little bit more about Dr. Walker, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
There'll be a couple things. So Instagram, right, would be BrainSpine_Chiro. Website's BrainSpineChiropractic.com. You can also email at BrainSpineChiro.com, or phone number is 470-407-9752.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing with us. We always appreciate all of our guests coming in, and we honor you guys by giving you the last word. So if you don't mind, please look into the camera and tell the people something good.
Yeah, well, I wish my wife would say that same thing. I never get the last word away. There's a lot I'd like to say, but I have it tattooed here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there are two important events in your life. Mm-hmm. The day you're born and the day you find out why. If you can find your why, it helps a lot. So, yeah.
Awesome. You're wrapping around the why. That's a great philosophy there. Thanks for coming on the show today. We definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And to everyone that is watching, be kind and Thanks.